What's up guys, my name is Ace and welcome back to another gun guide. This is the series where I go into great detail with all of the stats as well as some excellent attachment combinations for every gun in Call of Duty Vanguard. And in today's episode, we're going to be covering the last of the base SMGs in the game, and this is the Bren. And starting it off as always, let's have a look at our damage profile. And with this damage profile, it's going to be a 3 to 4 shot kill, and within each of those respective ranges, it doesn't matter if you shoot them in the limbs or the torso, it will still always be a 3 to 4 shot kill. As for headshots, in the maximum damage range, if you hit 2 shots in a row to the head, you can get a 2-shot kill, which is great. And at a distance, just 1 headshot mixed in with body shots will cut that down to a 3-shot kill. Then when it comes to our rate of fire, this is the slowest in the LMG category, but it's not painfully slow by any means. This is 600 rounds per minute, and what this means is in the 3-shot kill range, our time to kill is 200 milliseconds, which is actually the fastest time to kill without attachments compared to all of the other LMGs. As for that headshot time to kill potential, if we can land both of those bullets to the head, our time to kill potential is just 100 milliseconds, which is ridiculously fast. Now, when it comes to our bullet velocity, this is 930 meters per second, which is the same as all of the other LMGs. And now let's get into our ranges, which, as you can see here, we've got a great range profile. That 3-shot kill range extends out to just about 65 meters. And this is going to be covering pretty much every single practical line of sight in this game. So it's very rare you'll end up in a 4-shot kill range. As for hardcore, the Bren is always a 1-shot kill no matter what the range and no matter where in the body you shoot them, it's always a 1-shot kill. Now after that, let's have a look at our Hipfire, which is unfortunately the worst in the LMG category, and that's really saying something because LMGs in general have bad Hipfire, so this gun is not going to excel in that area. Then taking a look at our idle sway, as you can see there's definitely some movement while aiming down sight, although it is fairly slow moving. And this is also a good time to point out that this gun is quite obstructive while aiming down sight. It does cover a very large portion of your screen, which is a huge downside to the Bren. As for our recoil, as we can see here, the recoil is pretty bad on the Bren. It does have a fairly high magnitude of recoil, and it also has a tendency to bounce very suddenly left or right. And this sudden bounce just can't be properly predicted and controlled, and as a result, I would actually say the Bren is pretty terrible in this department, especially when compared to most of the other full auto guns in this game. When we have a look at our aim down sight spread, on the other hand, this is actually the best in the LMG category. There's essentially no bloom with the Bren. Its first shot is pinpoint accurate. And this is where we're going to move into the handling, which is also not really great with the Bren. Our aim down sight time is 440 milliseconds, which is slower than average even for an LMG. Our sprint to fire time is the same as all of the other LMGs at 300 milliseconds. And now let's get into our reload add time, which is 3.69 seconds, which isn't terrible for an LMG, but it is pretty terrible when you consider that this is only a 30-round magazine that we get. So handling is clearly not a strong suit with the Bren, but now let's move into our mobility stats. And as you can see here, across the board, it's a little bit below average for LMGs, but that's just mainly due to the fact that the Type 11 brings that average up. I would say this is more so standard for an LMG. So there we have it, those are the base stats of the Bren, and overall, I actually don't like the base Bren all that much. Sure, it's got the best time to kill potential out of the LMGs, but when you factor in that really slow handling and that really difficult to predict and control recoil, it's really not a great option in my opinion. Having said that though, the attachments can make a pretty big difference on the Bren, so let's have a look at those, and we'll start it off with barrels and their recoil. Which, as you can see here, that first barrel, I had to actually zoom out the image. That one is not to scale with the others, because I couldn't fit it into an image like this. The recoil is absolutely brutal with that first barrel. The second barrel is a lot better. This one actually cuts down the horizontal bounce a ton, which is the main issue with that, and that's great. The third barrel massively cuts down on the vertical recoil, and same thing with the fourth barrel, which cuts down on both vertical as well as horizontal recoil. After that, let's have a look at our range profiles, and you can see with the first barrel why it has such a high recoil. This is now going to be a 2-shot kill all the way out to 65 meters, which is pretty crazy. Then the second barrel gives us an infinite 3-shot kill range. The third barrel gives us an infinite 4-shot kill range, and then the final barrel doesn't change our range potential at all. And diving a little bit deeper, let's get into that first barrel again. So with this, like you saw earlier, it's now got a 2-shot kill potential out to 65 meters, which is pretty crazy. However, this does come at a cost of our rate of fire, which is now 521 rounds per minute. And what this means for our time to kill potential is in that 2-shot kill range, it's just 115 milliseconds, which is a near instant time to kill. There are very few guns in the game that can keep up with this. But we do have to factor in that ridiculous recoil out of this. However, that ridiculous recoil only applies when firing this in full auto mode. This is an incredible choice with semi-auto, and you'll be seeing that in one of my class setups coming up, and you've probably been seeing it in the gameplay in the background as well. As for the next barrel that directly impacts our time to kill potential, this is the third one, and with this, our rate of fire is cut all the way down to 300 rounds per minute, and our body damage is now 25, which means it's going to be a 4-shot kill to the body. And what this means for our time to kill potential to the body, this is 600 milliseconds, which is, I believe, the slowest time to kill in the entire game for a full auto gun. However, the reason this is so weak for body shots is they made it ridiculously powerful for headshots. This will be a 1-shot kill to the head at any range. So if you wanted to use a very specialized niche sort of setup, you could treat this as a sniper rifle that only gets a 1-shot kill to the head, and you may have some fun with that sort of a playstyle. Overall though, I just wouldn't recommend using this. So there we go, those are the barrel attachments and their unique stats. Now let's move into magazines, and once again, we'll start it off with recoil. And when it comes to using 6.5 Secura, this one does cut down on that horizontal recoil quite a bit and that random bounciness, which is nice to have. And then when we look at 50 BMG, that side-to-side bounce gets pretty crazy. As you can see there, there's just dots all over that wall. It becomes very difficult to control when using this in full auto mode. As for how these impact our ranges, with 6.5 Secura, you can see it's now going to be a 4-shot kill at any range, with a slower time to kill potential up close, whereas with 50 BMG, now this is a 2-shot kill potential all the way out to 78 meters, which is pretty crazy, and this gives us a time to kill potential of 121 milliseconds. And diving just a little bit deeper into this, with 6.5 Secura, like I said, it's now a 4-shot kill at all ranges, so you lose that 3-shot kill potential up close, but our rate of fire is a little bit faster at 645 rounds per minute. And it is worth noting, in the first damage range, you can shoot them anywhere in the body to get that 4-shot kill, whereas beyond about 52 meters, when you get to that second damage range, this is where you have to hit every bullet to the torso to maintain a 4-shot kill potential. As a result, even though this has some benefits to it, I would say they just don't outweigh the downsides of having a non-competitive time to kill in most situations. As for 50 BMG on the other hand, this will cut it down to a 2 to 3 shot kill, although with a 78 meter range, this is realistically a 2-shot kill in 99% of the situations you run into. And this of course comes with a reduction to our rate of fire below 500 rounds per minute, but our time to kill potential is still ridiculous at 121 milliseconds, which is amazing. But of course, we do have to remember that pretty terrible recoil when it comes to 50 BMG. And as a result, I would say just like with the first barrel attachment, 50 BMG can be great if you use it in semi-auto mode. In full auto mode though, I wouldn't really recommend using this just because that recoil is ridiculous to try and control. So there we go, that's going to wrap it up for the important attachments I wanted to cover. Now let's finally get into some excellent attachment combinations. And the first one I've got for you guys is basically just a standard LMG sort of a build. It's not necessarily my preferred way of running it, but this is a pretty good way of running it if you just want to use this like an LMG. So with this, some of the keys are going to be that 705mm barrel. This one is the one that cuts down significantly on that horizontal recoil, while giving us an infinite 3-shot kill potential, which is really nice for consistency. This has no impact on our time to kill potential, but that's fine because our base time to kill is great at 200 milliseconds. And this has really good initial recoil. Just pay attention to the first shots that I fire with this recoil pattern, and you'll see just how accurate those initial shots will be. And since you only need 3 shots to kill, you shouldn't really have to fire any more than like 5 to 6 shots in most situations before you've got yourself a kill. Now additionally with this, just to solidify it as an LMG, we've got that 100 round magazine on there. And this is just a nice consistent way to run this as an LMG. Now I keep saying as an LMG as if that should be a surprise because this is an LMG, and this is because my preferred method of using the Bren, and I believe the most powerful way to use the Bren, is actually more like a DMR. And this is my preferred build when I'm running it in semi-auto. And keep in mind with this, I actively put it into the semi-auto mode, and you'll definitely want to do this with this build. Otherwise the recoil with this will be completely unmanageable. But in semi-auto mode, this is going to be a 2-shot kill anywhere in the body out to 58 meters, which is going to cover the vast majority of your gunfights. The rate of fire cap is roughly 500 rounds per minute, so if you have a good trigger finger, you can actually show it off with this. And if you can reach that fire rate cap, our time to kill potential in the 2-shot kill range is just 120 milliseconds, which is incredible. To top that off, when we have a look at the recoil, what recoil? There's basically zero recoil with this in semi-auto mode. If anything, it kicks a little bit downward, but then there's essentially zero recoil after that first shot fired. This also has very solid handling for an LMG. Our aim down sight time is just over 400 milliseconds, which is very manageable. And when you compare this to the actual marksman rifles, this has significantly less flinch when you're shot. And that actually makes this probably my favorite semi-auto gun in the entire game to use, and I highly encourage you to give it a shot like this if you haven't already. And the nice thing about this as well is you unlock that first barrel right away, so you can actually start creating a similar setup very early on in your leveling with the Bren. And that's very rare to be able to create such a powerful setup early on in a weapons leveling. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for today's gun guide on the Bren. As for my thoughts on this gun, I really don't like it in full auto mode. I just feel like that recoil, the crazy bounce that you get with that, it's really hard to get that under control even when you stack it with attachments, and then it's really hard to manage your mobility and your handling as well. I just straight up don't like it in full auto mode. But like I said, in semi-auto, this is one of my favorite guns to use. I really like this in semi-auto mode, and I highly encourage you to give it a shot like that. But of course, that is just my opinion. I want to hear from you guys in the comment section below. What do you think about the Bren? And also, have you tried it in semi-auto mode yet with a similar build to what I suggested? Now, if you guys have also missed any of the previous episodes of Gun Guides, we've now covered all of the assault rifles, all of the SMGs, and all of the LMGs. I will leave a link to the playlist in the description down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.